who are you guys looking at now without Victor Wembanyama as the defensive player of the year?
Well, Mo, you brought up some interesting names. I'm just going to deal with the names that you brought up. First, Draymond. We know Draymond's history. He's a past winner of this award, if I'm not mistaken, and
Hmm.
he has built a career as a tremendous defensive player. The thing that the number of qualities that make Draymond an excellent defender. Uh, but you start with his toughness, but he's got a very good defensive mind too. He sees things early. He's an excellent communicator on the floor for his teammates that helped them. The Golden State over the years be a very good defense because of his ability to communicate, his ability to switch on to multiple size positions, multiple size players. So he's just an excellent all around defender. And it's been an amazing thing to watch a guy who may be 6'8". I'm stretching him to 6'8". He's probably 6'7", 6'6", 6'7". But to be able to guard the bigger people that he can very comfortably. He has longer arms, bigger hands, but again, he has a big heart. And a lot of times, there's the old saying, you can't measure a man's heart. And that has allowed Draymond to become an elite defender and has obviously helped this Golden State Warrior team stay relevant in the Western Conference playoff race. But then I want to pivot though to Dyson Daniels, who I've watched a lot this season, and the breakthrough that he has made. Watching him as a prospect at the G League Ignite, that was one of his strong suits, his ability to defend. But you could tell it, he was just recently coming over from Australia. He's trying to figure out a lot of these players, the level of quickness and athleticism of the players over here with the ball. He was trying to figure that out. It took him a couple, he was figuring that out while he was in New Orleans. And now I think he really has going to Atlanta has really settled in as a guy, as one of the game's elite perimeter defenders. Again, he can match up 1 through 3 or 4 on the court, which is a definite benefit for your team. It makes him a unique defender. Watched him do a great job individually on guys like Jalen Brunson this year when I watched him play the Knicks. He makes them have to work for every point that they get. And that's all you can ask for a guy. A guy like Brunson is going to still score his points, but you want to try to make him shoot below his average if you can. And he's done a good job against guys like that this year. And they put him on the top perimeter player night in and night out. And he's really answered the call. Don't know if he'll win the award this year, but he definitely should be someone that, in my opinion, is going to be a first team, at worst second team all defensive player this year. So kudos to Dyson Daniels. So those are the two. You brought them up, Mo, and I just want to discuss those two. If you guys have some other names, I'd love to jump in on those as well.
Yeah, Dyson Daniels, also known as the Great Barrier Thief, the first guard with 200 steals in a season since Chris Paul in
Mm.
2009. BJ, why are you laughing?
The Great Barrier Thief. Boy, I love that, Mo.
That's good, isn't it?
He has good hands, boy. He gets those hands in passing lanes. He strips guys. He does a really nice
He's
job.
first in steals by a country mile, first in deflections,
Hmm.
first in stopping drives, fourth in closeouts. Um, BJ, I have a question for you. As a former guard in this league, we saw Marcus Smart win the Defensive Player of the Year award just 3 years ago. First guard to win it since Gary Payton in '96, I believe. Why do guards struggle so much with winning this award when we've seen so many great defensive guards in the NBA?
The reason being for guards in particular is that the game was an interior game. So most of the defense for the offensive players, you played from an operating area, which as a guard, you're not playing post defense, you're not playing traditionally below the free throw line. So the versatility that's needed, you will see at other positions, the wing position, the center position. Guards aren't blocking shots. And it takes a certain size. When you mentioned Gary Payton was every bit 6'4", 6'5". So he was able to defend multiple positions, just like Marcus Smart. So, there's a couple names that I wanted to bring up.
Go ahead.
here, I want to bring up Evan Mobley. I think he
Hmm.
should be some, his name should be there because of how well the Cleveland Cavaliers have played. And I also don't want to forget, in particular, two players, but their whole team in the way that they defend the Oklahoma City Thunder. Lou Dort
Yep.
and
Hmm.
then Shea Alexander. I want to bring him up as well just because of the way that they played, they defend. They get a lot of steals. They're out in the passing lanes. Great win that they had last night versus the LA Clippers. So I want to make sure that we at least acknowledge their defensive efforts. But I
Oh, no question.
agree, Dyson Daniels is this year the defensive player of the year. The way he plays, I mean, you could tell he's an elite defender. You could tell he studies the plan. He understands offense and defensive schemes, and he's excelling at it. So, but I think this year he has been the defensive player of the year. He's very disruptive. Would be fascinating to watch as his career evolves, to see the impact that he can make on the defensive end. Because you've seen guards like Marcus Smart, you've mentioned Drew Holiday is another, Gary Payton, all of these players, with the exception of Marcus Smart, they've gone on to win championships because of their ability to defend. So I think he has a chance to be an elite player for many years to come. And I think it'll be tremendous for him as a young player to achieve this and be able to figure out, what's his true impact on the game as you continue to improve, not only on the defensive end, but on the offensive end. But he's a phenomenal player. When you watch him, I mean, he's always in the lanes. And he has the ability what great defensive players have, which they can recover. Even if he doesn't get the steal, he can still recover and get himself back involved in the play. So, but I think he is the best defensive player this year and what he's been able to do for his team.
Yeah, I think Dyson Daniels for me is the defense player of the year. I want to throw some other names out there. Jaren Jackson Jr., of course, the previous winner of this award. A name that no one talks about, as I said last week, he's underappreciated. Ivica Zubac. He's defended the second most 2-point field goals out of anyone in the NBA this season. Only Brook Lopez has had to defend more. But I don't think Brook Lopez can be in that conversation just because of how the season's gone for the Milwaukee Bucks. But any other names that you want to throw in there, Scott?
No, I mean he brought up. I always like to bring up the two teams or teams that are at the top of the standings and look at their rosters. Obviously, Evan Mobley has taken a step forward on both ends of the court this year. I know we're talking about defense right now, but Evan blocks shots, very switchable defender. You can switch him onto a guard for a short period of time. He can play a small forward. So you like that about him. He's gotten stronger now where as a post defender, he can hold his position a lot better than what he was doing previously in his previous couple 3 years in the league. So I like the progress from him. OKC, best defensive team in the league this year. Yeah, Lou Dort has always been an outstanding defender. That's what got him into the league. He's physical. You watch this guy, what is he, 6'3", maybe 6'4"? I've watched him defend centers this year sometime when Oklahoma City goes small. So very tough, very strong. Again, we talk about the ability to defend multiple positions and how important that is. He definitely brings that to the table for that OKC team. And Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, our choice for MVP this year. And one of the reasons not only is his tremendous offensive ability that he's displayed this year, but always up there near the top in steals, is a good solid team defender, uses his length well. And that's one of the reasons too, along with a lot of other guys on that roster, why they're the number one defensive team in the league. So
Yeah, I think
kudos to both of those guys.
for defensive player of the year though, it has to be the guy who's taken on the toughest assignments. If it's not going to be a
Mhm.
prolific rim protector like a Rudy Gobert, it's got to be a guy who takes on the toughest assignments. That's why I can't have Shea in those conversations for me, because he
Mhm.
doesn't guard the opponent's best player. They would be Lou Dort if you're going to
No,
pick someone off the OKC
yeah,
Thunder.
I'm not saying that he would be the defensive player of the year, but I think as an MVP, he gives you a defensive effort though. he brings defensive integrity to the roster. I get your point about the Defensive Player of the Year award, but I would not be surprised to see him possibly on the third team all defensive team. No, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying he will, but he's no slouch defensively, that's for sure.